For today's grim adventure, we find ourselves in Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, where today's video is going to be all about the Haunted Mansion. Well, more specifically, Madame Leota. But before we get into that, we have to stop and pay our respects to Walt Disney. We brought flowers. We have white roses and blue roses, which kind of gives us Haunted Mansion feels. And Walt is right over here in this little garden at the top of the hill in the back of the cemetery. Here's a closer look at the statue that Jessica was just walking up to. And I feel like the last time that we were here, this wasn't all like this. I mean, the statue was here, there were leaves everywhere, but it's nice to see a bunch of flowers, and there's a Mickey doll and some magnets. And then on the back wall, overlooking the garden, is the nameplate that says Walter Elias Disney. So it looks like this is the Disney family plot. But since we've been here, there's been a handful of people. I'd say probably about 10, 15 people that have come up and paid their respects, got a picture, and left. Now, like we said, this is not the first time that we've done a video on Walt Disney. In fact, whenever we first came out here, I think Walt Disney's grave was one of the very first places that we chose to visit when we came out to California, way before we even moved here. But visiting the grave of Madame Leota, the real grave of Madame Leota, is something that we've been wanting to do for quite some time. So we brought some stuff, we're gonna tell some stories, but above all, just gonna have fun. A nice little grim family day in the cemetery.
Wherever I come, bad luck is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. A bad luck's always coming my way.
Serpents and spiders, tail of a rat. Call in the spirits wherever they're at. Rap on a table. It's time to respond. Send us a message from somewhere beyond. Goblins and ghoulies from last Halloween. Awaken the spirits with your tambourine.
If you're new to our channel, it might surprise you that we're Disney fans. But for those of you who know and recently celebrated our anniversary with us, you'll remember that our engagement started at Disney World, to be in fact, where Michael proposed me in front of the castle.
Oh, baby Goal, what are you doing back here?
I am clumsily creating Madame Leota's bouquet to leave at her gravesite. I had purchased the white bundle and the blue bundle, and I'm just putting them together.
Truth be told, this is a rather steep hill. And we have to walk it if we want to visit Madame Leota, so I think it's pretty worth it. Just kind of navigating our way through the tombstones. All the way up here at the top of the hill is where you'll find the final resting place of Leota Toombs. Well, Leota Ann Toombs Thomas is her full name. Her final resting place is right here. Now here's the thing about Leota Toombs. Basically, she spent her entire life, her entire career working for Walt Disney, creating exhibits and attractions, going back to the World's Fair, as well as Pirates of the Caribbean. And like we said, she's mostly known, because of her work for the Haunted Mansion. I always love when tombstones have something unique on them. Whether it's a picture or a poem or even a Bible verse. Something that makes it stand out more than just the name and the birth and death date. And Madame Leota, hers is just beautiful. It says, Leota Ann Toombs Thomas, our beautiful mother. 1925 to 1991, we will find you in the morning sun. And when the night is new, we will be looking at the moon and we will be seeing you. Wow. I'm not gonna lie, baby girl. You sitting at Madame Leota's grave, it's kind of haunting. With the bright sun, like, beautiful.
Do you know, thinking back, I think technically our friendship began over the Haunted Mansion.
That's right.
If I'm remembering correctly, we were online friends. We were already talking about different nerdy things. And I lived in Orlando, went to Disney all the time, and you had asked me to find you a Haunted Mansion statue. And it didn't stop there. Right after you proposed, the first thing we did was go ride the Haunted Mansion because it was your first time there. And having been freshly engaged and very giddy, it's a coffin ring, by the way. We had to go and get some pictures with some hitchhiking ghosts. Do you know, I don't think I ever got you that statue.
You know what? I think you're right.
We did bring some cool things though.
Yeah.
To showcase how Madame Leota really does represent the Haunted Mansion.
And how obsessed we are. Like, she's in our life forever. Now, this is just a small part of our Haunted Mansion collection. Trust me when I say we have a lot of Haunted Mansion merchandise. Now, of course, because it's Madame Leota, we have two crystal balls. We have one on the top left, one in the top right. But we have a few other things that are just kind of fun. Some of them make sounds. Now, baby girl, tell us about the ghosts in the jars.
These are my favorite. I think that they were released during one of the anniversaries. It says, here holds the spirit of Constance Hatchaway, the bride, that's important, in spiritual repose. Now I'm gonna push her activation button and see if she lights up for you.
Friends, next of kin, summon a spirit from the mansion. Ghoulies travel from near and far, all invited to reside in a jar.
That was lucky because there's several sayings in here and that one was really nice, but inside, when you press her activation, she lights up and you'll notice that she's in her wedding gown. Now, the reason why I point it out and say why it's important that she is the bride is that at the end of the Disneyland attraction, you have little Leota, who is in what appears to be a wedding gown. So people often confuse these two because they are the main female faces that you see that represent the Haunted Mansion. Constance Hatchaway, hatch away. She carries the hatchet. She's the bride in the attic. And then Madame Leota, who is the face inside the crystal ball. And Madame Leota is also called Little Leota at the end of the ride. It says, hurry back and don't forget to bring your death certificate. That's Little Leota.
Now, something else I want to point out, that voice that we just heard inside the Constance Hatchaway ghost in the jar, that was actually the voice of somebody else. That was not Leota Toombs. You see, back whenever they sculpted Madame Leota's face off of Leota Toombs, they felt that her voice was a little too pleasant, a little too high-pitched. So the voice that you hear in the seance room is actually somebody else who plays an evil stepmother in a different Disney classic. But the voice of Little Leota, that one's a little high pitch, a little higher, if you will. That is Leota Toombs.
Do you want to hear it one more time?
Let's do it.
We get?
Yeah.
Okay.
A sure to bring your death certificate.
How fitting is that?
That was Leota and Toombs Thomas.
Putting Constance Hatchaway back in her spot, if you will, in the attic. Haha. Next, we have the Hatbox Ghost. So we actually have two of these.
Who's also technically in the attic.
Right? So here holds the spirit of the Hatbox Ghost. Go ahead and activate him.
I'm gonna turn him around and see if we can see his face. Ready?
Go for it.
Be sure to bring your death certificate.
Ooh. So it's Leota again, a little Leota.
We're being haunted by Leota Toombs.
How fitting, right at her grave.
One more time?
Go for it.
Family, friends, next of kin. Summon a spirit from the mansion. Ghoulies travel from near and far. All invited to reside in a jar.
I did that with my mind. The Haunted Mansion wouldn't be complete without the Hatbox Ghost, and he actually does not make sound, but he does light up.
So if we were in a dark room, his head lights up, and then it goes dark, and then his head inside the Hatbox lights up.
It is a very bright day. I thought for sure you'd be able to see his Hatbox light up, but if I tilt him up toward the sun, ooh.
The sipper's head
sipper.
comes off. You decapitated the Hatbox Ghost?
I know, but you can see the figure inside that would light up for you to see the headless Hatbox Ghost. Oh,
Wait, do we put stuff in there? We forgot about it?
it's the lanyard. Because these are purchased from the Disney parks
And some of them are either sippers, snack holders.
or popcorn buckets, like that one. So, there he is. Beautiful, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why we brought blue. It really is one of the colors that represents the Haunted Mansion.
Now, of course, a Haunted Mansion collection would not be complete without doom buggies. And a funny little tidbit of information, our car, we named it, it's called a doom buggy. Now the one on the left, this one right here, this is one that they're actually selling in the park. And then this one is the 50th anniversary. Same thing, just different packaging.
There you are. And just in time. There's a little matter I forgot to mention.
So go ahead, turn it around. Let's look at some of that artwork that's on there. So there's Leota on the side. Boring back. And then the Hatbox Ghost. Now, the 50th anniversary is a little bit different. As you can tell just by looking at it, it has a 50th anniversary stamp right on the window. And again, if we were in a dark room, you'd see the hitchhiking ghosts riding the doom buggy. I remember whenever they released the first version of this, and we thought it was amazing. They sold out really quickly, and then they came out with these. We're like, what the heck you doing, Disney? Now go ahead and hit it. Grim Grin Ghost, come out to socialize. We now find ourselves at Mount Sinai Memorial Park in Hollywood. This is where you'll find the final resting place of a woman known as Eleanor Audley. She was the voice of Madame Leota.
Serpents and spiders, tail of a rat, call in the spirits wherever they're at.
Did you know that not only is she the voice of Madame Leota, but if you listen very closely, you'll recognize her as Maleficent and Lady Tremaine.
Listen well, all of you. The princess shall indeed grow in grace and beauty, beloved by all who know her. But before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel.
It is a very bright and sunny day. to be walking through the cemetery, but you can't beat a beautiful day like this. And right over here is where you'll find the final resting place of Eleanor Audley. I say it oddly, like O-D-D, but it's A-U-D-L-E-Y.
Oddly.
The voice of Lady Tremaine, Maleficent, and Madame Leota.
It's really lovely to be here. I've grown up with her voice. We've all grown up with her voice. We've been quoting her our entire lives.
Right?
Can you imagine?
One of the most memorable villains, if you will, from our childhood. I mean, we all love horror films. Freddy Krueger and you know, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, that kind of stuff. But when you really think of it, when it comes to Disney, she was the voice of so many villains.
All of our favorites.
In loving memory, Eleanor Audley, a kind friend to all, 1905 to 1991. It's pretty wild to read a kind friend to all and knowing that she was a villain to so many of our childhood, you know, our childhood memories and movies we watched. Here's a head-on shot of her tombstone. And again, the reason we chose the white and blue flowers is because it reminded us of the Haunted Mansion. This is pretty wild. And with that being said, thank you for joining us on another grim adventure, this time delving into the world of the Haunted Mansion with just like a quick little afternoon video. Until next time, happy Halloween.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always